Musical Talk, the UK independent musical theatre podcast.
So I'm joined today by a fantastic performer and a friend of mine. We go back a few years now, but he is one of the UK's top leading men, in my opinion. Absolutely brilliant. His theatre credits include Young Frankenstein, Phantom of the Opera, you name it really, Miss Saigon. He was the Beast in Beauty and the Beast. Recently, Javert in the UK tour of Les Miserables. It's Nic Greenshields, everyone. How you doing, Nick?
Hello. Hello, mate. How are you?
Oh, I'm really well.
I've not seen you for so long. And when I last saw you I've seen you since then, I think. But when we worked together 15 years ago, you were like this young juvenile just out of college, whacking your legs up. And here we are, grown men, got beards, maybe a little bit of a beer belly. But hey,
absolutely.
No, thank you for inviting me on the show. I'm really pleased to be on. Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. It's absolutely brilliant. So, let's just dive straight into. Recently, you've been Les Mis playing Javert. I think if people want to go on YouTube and just search for you, there are a few naughty videos taken by on audience members of you singing a few of the songs.
Yeah, I found those too in lockdown. My kids were like, "Oh, we've never seen you do anything," and so I thought, "I'll just Google my name on YouTube." And up came all these videos of pirate copies that people have taken. Some of them are all right, but it's not anything like being in the actual theatre. But
of course.
Yeah, I've been on tour with Les Mis since we started September 2018, and we were selling out. We were going all across the country, and then the tour extended for another year, and I was very luckily asked to stay on if I wanted to, and I jumped at the chance. And then we got 3 months into the contract, and then we were closed down in Norwich on a Monday night as soon as Boris made the announcement that theatres and restaurants should look at maybe closing. We were shut down straight away, and it's been, 16, 17 weeks now. Because obviously we closed like about a week and a half before the official lockdown. But, just plodding along, trying to keep myself busy.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but just miss the community of people, really. Not, I love doing the show, but it's all like any job. It's always the people that make a job.
Yeah, of course.
And it hopefully will get back sometime. They're sort of saying next year, maybe early March, springtime, which still feels like such a long way off. But we've just got to hang in there and keep positive. And I mean, look, theatre's been affected. I don't want to sound like, whoa, poor me, but there's hundreds of careers and people's livelihoods that have been affected just as much. And my heart goes out to all those people because no one really knows how their life is going to sort of shape a few months or future, really. But anyway, musical theatre, that's what it's about. It's about keeping positive, singing a song. That's what people, I think that's going to be the biggest thing for people, because obviously live in theatre is a bit of escapism for a couple of hours, from being in shows, just how much people come and they enjoy it. And sometimes you take it for granted sometimes that you're in this show and just the effect, like Les Mis is a mad kind of show in its sense that it's been on for 35 years in London, and you get generations. You get like people who saw it as a teenager and bringing their grandchildren to see it. And the effect it has on them emotionally is incredible. And it's us up there on that stage singing that score, telling that story. And so we have a level of kind of responsibility. We're like custodians. I always say, people say, what's it like? And I say, well, I'm passing through Les Mis at the moment. I'll get my time, could be 1, 2, 3 years, and then the show will be passed on to someone else. And I think we've all got a level of kind of responsibility to keep that show up at the top of its game, which it has been really for 35 years now.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's an incredible honour to be on a show like that. I first performed in the show back in 2003 in the Ensemble in London. Yeah. I did a year and I loved it, and then just happened to come back to it 15 years later, and ended up playing the role of Javert, which is a role I think it was always the one that I wanted to do ever since I was a kid, a teenager. I saw the 10th anniversary on a VHS. For any of those listeners out there, if you don't know what a VHS is, video, go ask your mums, dads. But yeah, watched that on a VHS, 1995 it was, and I was like 15 or 16, and I saw Philip Quast sing Stars, and I was like, this man is immense, I still think he's the greatest Javert, in my opinion. Just that was the dream come true, sort of, 8 years later to be in it in London. But I never thought I'd get to come back to it, and here I am, hopefully still got a job somewhere down the line. But yeah, it's an incredible honour to be in Les Mis.
Yeah. Oh, that was lovely. That was absolutely wonderful to listen to. Yeah, and you're quite right. We have been trusted with these sorts of shows, and I mean, Les Mis is. I heard that it's the most performed professional musical of all time. Not that say
Well, it's certainly been. I'm not like a musical historian, but I'm sure that it's been sung in more languages than any other musical. Yeah,
last I checked, it was about 52 languages, I believe.
It's something crazy, and there's always a production, like they just opened it, and it resonates even today, with all these students and people around the world sort of wanting their voices to be heard against their governments. And, they had, while we were in rehearsals just for Christmas, they were trying to mount a production in Venezuela, and they got it on. And they just said the impact it had, and then you started seeing, as we've seen in Hong Kong, people singing "Do You Hear the People Sing?" in the streets, making their protest. And yeah, I mean, it's just it's like a massive machine that's been generating for, like I said, 35 years, and so many people have passed through and been part of the production. But Cameron really, he's still involved in all the casting, whether it's here or, in Venezuela. He will see every single principal, either in person or by tape. And I think, that's probably the reason why it is still at the top of its game, because the amount of care.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not just left. It's not like, I use McDonald's as an analogy. It's not, it's up running. People will come regardless. The amount of care creatively that's put into it, and the directors and Cameron being involved in every production, means that every production is like world class, really. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, it's fantastic. I do want to talk about Young Frankenstein, because the pictures of you in that were just incredible to see. Obviously, we're friends on Facebook, so I got on my timeline all the time pictures of you. And it was amazing. And I worked on a Mel Brooks show a few years ago as well, the producers, and I know just how funny and special that show, his productions are and his writing is. How did you find Young Frankenstein? First of all, tell the audience who you played.
So I played the monster. So I'm Dr. Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster that he creates, who is a mute, doesn't really speak until the end of just makes lots of odd noises. But I mean, that show was just a dream. Like, I didn't sing in it until the very end, just a couple of lines, but it's one of my all-time favourite jobs. I mean, you've worked obviously for Susan Stroman, who Mel Brooks used on the producers, and she, again, she's at the top of her game. That woman is just a force of nature, really. She knows her stuff, and she directed and choreographed the show, and it's just wonderful to be involved in something that was just, from the moment the orchestra struck up and played the first note till the play out, it was just a laugh-a-minute show. The audience, some nights we used to do it, and you could feel the audience, they were ahead of us, like they were wanting the gags, but it had a bit of a cult following as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But it was just joyous to be in something that just people laughed. I've never, a lot of, like Les Mis, there isn't many laughs, everyone dies. Miss Saigon, people die. I've been in a lot of shows. Yeah. Beauty and the Beast was lovely because it's a family show, but this show was just fantastic. And I mean, I got to, put green makeup on. I was actually in the makeup chair longer than I was on the show. So that was what was funny about it. But yeah, I got this great number in Act 2, this Putting on the Ritz number, which is famous from the film.
Absolutely brilliant.
And we got to do it. They chose to do it at the Olivier Awards at the Royal Albert Hall. So it's lovely because I've got a recording of that. And yeah, I mean, the cast were phenomenal. We had Ross Noble and Corey English came in.
Oh, I love
Leslie
Corey.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Corey was brilliant. I mean, he's got
amazing.
so much energy as well. Like,
Yeah.
it was just it was a really, really happy company. And you know what? If it was still running, I thought this today would be coming up to our 3rd year anniversary. They would have had to have like take me out that building in a coffin, or have just sacked me, because I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And again, it was the people, you know, and it was lovely also because it on a quiet night, as in, like, you know, if there was you know, laughs throughout, it would come down about 9:40 p.m., which, you know, is unheard of for a lot of West End shows to come down before 10 o'clock. And then there would be some nights where we'd come down near to 10 o'clock because there would just be 20 minutes of added laughter. Because Corey or Ross Noble, you know, they'd have the audience in the palm of their hand. And it was a wonderful show. I mean, they mentioned about touring it, but it was due to tour this year, so it just would never have survived anyway. So I hope it comes back. They were going to do a live version on Broadway for like CBS or one of the networks. And I was really interested in that, and I thought, I'd love to throw my hat in the ring for that, because we got to meet Mel Brooks. He came because I joined the show slightly later. The American guy came over, did the first 5 weeks, because I was actually working on School of Rock. I was a resident director.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Go on.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I've loved, as I've got older, you know, I love everything about theatre. So I don't want to pigeonhole myself and just say, all I'm interested in doing is performing. And some opportunities have come my way where I've assisted and I've worked with children, and then School of Rock came up and they wanted a resident and a children's director. And so I threw my hat in the ring and I got the job, and I had a wonderful 16, 17 months on that show. I mean, it was incredibly hard work. Any one time I was looking after 3 teams of children, which amounted to 39 kids, and an adult cast of like 25, 30. And it was a brilliant, brilliant experience. But then Young Frankenstein came along and I thought, you know, I want to have a go at that. So I sort of went back and performed, and then it was off the back of Young Frankenstein, oddly enough, that I did the Olivier Awards, and that's where Cameron was looking. They were looking for a Javert. They'd seen lots of people. And he was like, what about that tall guy, that guy, you know, the monster? And I was like, that's how I got invited into the audition. I was like, this is so random.
It's amazing.
You know, how could you look at me doing that? But he must have seen something. And, you know, and then 3 auditions later, it's quite funny because you see lots of people, because like I said, on Les Mis, there's loads of creative input. So you sort of meet panels of about 10, 15 people. And then the last one is like going in the boardroom for The Apprentice. You know, you go in and there's Cameron like sat like Alan Sugar and everyone's to the sides. And then he just takes control. And I mean, you know, he's on an unusual force because, he's a producer, and most producers just sit quietly and you never really get to know them, as you know. But he's got such a creative mind on him that he does, you know, and sometimes I think it can rub creative teams up the wrong way because directors see their vision, but Cameron's at the top of his game, and it's his way or no way.
Of course.
You know, he's saying, he's a really, really lovely man. He's been very, especially during this whole period, he's been very supportive to his casts and the people that work for him, which has been nice, you know, because that doesn't always happen. So he's very approachable, and he's just very, very passionate about theatre. And so going back to your question, you know, I just like to do anything. So I never, you know, who knows what I'll be doing after Les Mis. Maybe I'll go and someone might ask me to choreograph. Very unlikely, but
you never know. You never know.
Come and do stage a panto or something. Who knows? But I'd do anything. I've never been grand. I've been very, very lucky, you know, to have done the things I've done.
Well, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say I don't take any of it for granted, you know. And I've never really had a plan. I don't sit there and sort of say, oh, this is what I want to do or that's what I want to do. Just, you know, if I can pay my bills, and I've never felt like I go to work, you know, in any of these jobs. It's just, I think, God, I'm paid to have fun, you know, as we did when we toured. You know, we had a great time.
Oh, it's such a good time,
Disney, you know. And I look back and I saw Charlene Ford the other day, and we were laughing about, you know, some of the things on that tour. And, it was a technical nightmare, wasn't it?
When your wig came off, that was maybe the funniest moment of my life. I don't think I've ever laughed like that.
Just for the listeners,
I
was playing the Beast, and obviously transform at the end of the show back into a prince. And for the first 6 months of the tour, I didn't have a wig, and I had to grow my own hair. And I said, look, I'm really hot with my own hair underneath all the Beast makeup and costume. Is there any chance that this wig will materialise? And they said, yeah, you'll get it. And we had a week off in August before we returned to Plymouth. So I knew the wig was coming. So I went and had a skinhead. I got all my hair taken off. So I came back and we started the performances. And I don't know what night it was, but I get revealed as the prince in all my sort of rags, and just before I go off to put the walk down costume on, and the wires that were flying me upside down and doing the transformation got taken out too quickly, and as they went out, they hooked like a fishing line onto the back of my wig and ripped the wig off in front of a full audience. And so suddenly I went from being this long-haired, like, you know, fairy tale prince,
beautiful
with a ponytail,
prince,
to having a skinhead. And then what it meant was that the wig was then up in the fly tower, and I had to run off. I had like a 30, 40 second quick change, got into all my lovely walk down costume, and then all of the ensemble and all the cast come on for the last few notes of the show. And there's me with a skinhead looking like Phil Mitchell.
Oh God!
Dressed as a prince in Disney's Beauty and the Beast. I couldn't stop laughing.
Oh, it was so funny.
I think the audience were just like, what? Because if you didn't clock it straight away, you might have just thought that, oh, he's a skinhead.
Yeah.
And not seen the wig. But it was just the most bizarre. But we had many things like that.
Oh yeah, we did. Especially you, because you were involved in all the technical bits. You know, I had to watch you. I mean, I remember the tech rehearsal was just a nightmare, wasn't it? In Eastbourne.
Yeah.
That was.
Well, I remember we were doing the transformation, and Katie Rowley Jones, who was playing Belle, called to stop because I couldn't get enough momentum. They didn't lift me up properly on the wires, and I was just hanging like. I must look like I was dead. She thought I was dead. She thought I passed out or something. God, yeah. It was funny. And the little chip carts, you know, the boys stuck in a trolley, and it was just, I mean,
it was funny.
Great again, but wasn't it? It was the people. We would never have got through that job if it wasn't for the bunch of people. Adam Stafford, Mark Inscoe.
Oh, it was amazing.
John Quinn, you know, great
Uncle
people.
Quinn,
you know, and we just were able to laugh and support each other. You know, great memories.
Cool. So before we go, I don't want to keep you too long because I know you've got another interview in a minute, and I could just talk to you all day.
That makes me sound like honestly, I'm in great demand. I must say the interview I'm doing is for mine and Andy's old college, Lanes, and so I'm not sat here daily doing interviews. I'm very very honoured to be invited onto this podcast. So but quite right.
I just wanted to ask you. You know, you've played some imposing characters over the years. These incredible, strong male leads. I mean, obviously, people that don't know, you're very tall. How tall are you? About 6'7", 6 something like that.
I say 6'6" because that sounds quite good, but I'm actually, I think, 6'7". So 6'6" doesn't sound as bad as 6'7".
Yeah, but being this, you know, tall, you know, and you've played these incredible leads, you know, like the Beast, Beauty and the Beast, and obviously Javert. But probably one of the most iconic musical theatre characters in history was not even touched on yet, and you played the Phantom. I mean, how was that?
I know. Do you know what? Like, something came up the other day, and it was about supporting the arts and use a picture of a job, and I found that picture, and I was like, oh my God. And a lot of people either didn't know I'd done it or did know I'd done it, but because I don't talk about it, you know, it's part of my history, as in like it's in the past. And you know, I did it in 2007 to 2009, and I was the standby, became an alternate with Ramin Karimloo, who, you know, has gone on to massive great things. Good friend of mine. And yeah, I mean, that was just amazing. I don't know how I got there.
That's amazing.
But I had to. But do you know what? That show is again, it's like Les Mis, but as soon as you start singing Music of the Night, you can hear a pin drop, because you can almost hear the inhale of they're waiting for it, and the way it's staged, and it's just iconic. And I learned a lot on that show, because roles like that come with a lot of pressure, because the expectation of people that are flying in from Japan, they're here for a weekend. What do they go and see? Phantom. That's what they want to see. And again, but one of the happiest theatres I've ever worked in. People stay in that show for 5 years minimum, most people. There's Ellen Jackson and Philip Griffiths, he's been there 25 years. And the reason is because the people, it never feels like you're going into work. But I had a wonderful time. And, when I was doing Les Mis last year, one of the creative team said to me, we should look at you, get you back in for a Phantom audition. And as much as I thought, oh God, wouldn't that be wonderful? There was a part of me that was like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do that now. I think I had a lot more sort of bravado when I was in my 20s, of like, nothing fazed me. But now I think maybe having kids and that, you sort of do become a bit more of a worrier. I do feel, I feel very comfortable when I'm on stage. I'm much better on stage being a character than I am if you said, oh, come on, get up and do karaoke. I find that really hard. I find it hard being myself.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm the same. Almost like the anticipation of doing it is worse than actually doing it. When you're there, you're just doing it. I know what you mean. I should let you get on. I haven't even mentioned your films yet either. The Lovely and all that. And
well, listen, if you get bored and if you listeners have liked it, then let's do another one in a couple of weeks' time. And,
that sounds great. Yeah, that sounds lovely.
Chew the fat, that'd be great. But I've got this other one at 11 o'clock. So
no problem.
But thanks ever so much for asking me, Andy. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Stay safe, everyone. Look after yourselves, and hopefully see you at a theatre sometime soon.
Oh, thanks, Nic Greenshields, everyone. That's brilliant. Thank you so much.
For more information about Musical Talk, please visit our website at musicaltalk.co.uk. You can email us at feedback@musicaltalk.co.uk, listen to past episodes on iTunes and YouTube, and follow our social media channels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.